Have you ever tried to manifest something so desperately, only to feel frustration creeping in the more you try? Maybe it's a new job, the perfect relationship, financial freedom, or even a sense of inner peace. You followed the guides, repeated the affirmations, visualized until your mind felt full, and yet, nothing seems to shift. The results, if any, feel fleeting. You start wondering, is manifestation just a fantasy? Am I doing it wrong? Or maybe it's just not meant for me? Here's the thing. Almost everyone who struggles with manifestation is making the same invisible mistake. It's not that you lack the technique, the dedication, or even the belief. It's that you're trying to create a new reality from an old state. You are attempting to force transformation while still operating from fear, doubt, lack, or frustration. Imagine trying to build a beautiful garden in soil that's rocky, barren, and dry. No matter how carefully you plant the seeds or how diligently you water them, growth will be slow, or worse, stunted entirely. That soil needs transformation first. And the same is true for manifestation. Your inner state is the soil from which your reality grows. Most people don't realize this because modern manifestation teachings focus almost entirely on technique. They tell you to affirm, visualize, or write down your desires, as if the act of doing alone guarantees the result. Yet, countless spiritual seekers have tried this approach for months, sometimes years, only to feel exhausted and defeated. They think they are failing because the universe is against them or because they lack faith. But the real reason is subtler, quieter, and far more profound. They are asking for their dreams from a state that does not allow those dreams to flourish. Think about your own life for a moment. How often do you notice yourself chasing outcomes with a sense of urgency, trying to fix reality instead of simply aligning with it? Perhaps you are visualizing the life you want while silently feeling unworthy of it. Maybe you are scripting your desires while your mind is preoccupied with what hasn't worked before. Or perhaps, even as you meditate and repeat affirmations, a small voice inside whispers doubt, fear, or impatience. This is the state most people operate from, a mixture of hope and anxiety, desire and frustration, wanting and resistance. The paradox is profound. Manifestation isn't about wanting something more than you have, it's about being in a state that naturally draws that reality to you. You don't manifest from effort, you manifest from alignment. You don't create change by chasing it, you create change by embodying it. And yet, our culture is obsessed with doing, with achieving, with striving, even in spiritual pursuits. We are taught that if we only try harder, visualize better, or recite longer, we will succeed. But effort alone, without a shift in the internal state, is like spinning the wheels of a car stuck in mud. The energy is there, but the movement goes nowhere. This is where most seekers feel stuck, confused, or even disillusioned. They start measuring themselves against others, comparing manifestation results, or giving up entirely. And yet, the solution is simpler than they realize. It begins not with what you do, but with who you are in the act of doing. The inner state, the quiet, often unseen, subtle vibration of being, is the true foundation of reality creation. Everything you desire responds not to your technique, but to your presence, your feeling, your being. By the end of this video, you will begin to see manifestation from a completely different perspective. You will understand why chasing outcomes from the wrong state never works. You will learn to identify the subtle blocks and hidden tensions that silently sabotage your efforts. And most importantly, you will discover how to shift your state first, so that manifestation becomes not a struggle, but a natural unfolding of your inner alignment. The truth is, most people fail not because they are incapable, but because they are asking the universe to respond to a version of themselves that is still limited, fearful, or misaligned. And once you understand this, everything changes. Suddenly, manifestation is no longer about struggle, effort, or proving yourself. It becomes about presence, alignment, and embodiment. You begin to realize that the life you desire is not somewhere out there waiting to be captured. It is a reflection of the state you are in right now. So if you have ever felt like manifestation isn't working for you, or if you've been frustrated by lack of progress despite all the techniques, take a deep breath. You are not broken and you have not failed. You have simply been operating from the wrong state, and that is something entirely correctable. What you are about to learn will help you stop trying to force change from outside yourself and start allowing it to flow naturally from within. And as you continue listening, I invite you to let go of expectation, to release judgment of yourself, and to open to the possibility that the secret to manifestation is already inside you. It's not in doing more, it's in being more. The moment you recognize that, the entire landscape of your reality begins to shift. Your old struggles start to fade, replaced by clarity, ease, and a subtle but undeniable sense of alignment with the life you are meant to experience. Most people think that manifestation is simply a matter of knowing what you want and trying hard enough to get it. They believe that if they visualize clearly, repeat affirmations, or follow a strict routine, the universe will eventually respond. But what they don't see is that their inner state, the subtle mix of emotions, beliefs, and energy they carry, determines whether those techniques will work or not. Trying to manifest from a state of lack, frustration, or doubt is like trying to light a fire with wet wood. No matter how much you strike the match, it will never ignite fully. When we talk about state, we're not referring only to emotions like happiness or sadness. We are talking about your energetic and mental condition, the vibration you radiate, and the way your nervous system is functioning. It is the underlying tone of your consciousness. Most people operate from a state of doing, wanting, or chasing. They are in a constant cycle of tension and expectation, hoping that if they try hard enough, the life they desire will arrive. But this state is inherently misaligned with the reality they wish to create. Think about the last time you tried to manifest something with desperation. Perhaps it was a romantic relationship. You imagined your ideal partner, wrote down all the qualities you wanted, and even rehearsed scenarios in your mind. Yet, behind the visualizations there was a quiet anxiety, a fear that it might never happen. That fear created resistance. You see, the universe does not respond to what you want, it responds to who you are. And in that moment, who you were was a mixture of longing and doubt, not alignment. This pattern repeats across every area of life. Financial abundance is blocked by worry and scarcity thinking. Career opportunities stall because your inner state is filled with comparison and self-doubt. Health goals remain distant because fear of failure overrides motivation. Even spiritual growth can feel stagnant when you are trying to force enlightenment instead of allowing it to emerge from presence. In every case, the outer manifestation is a mirror of the inner state. No amount of affirmations, visualization, or scripting can bypass this. One of the most subtle and insidious aspects of manifesting from the wrong state is that it often feels like progress. You may see small shifts or coincidences that temporarily trick you into thinking your practice is working. A phone call, a small check in your bank account, or a fleeting moment of synchronicity can feel like confirmation. But these are partial reflections, not the full manifestation. The deeper alignment is missing, and because of that, the results are inconsistent, fragile, and fleeting. This is why so many people feel discouraged after weeks or months of dedicated practice. They are asking from a state that cannot fully hold the reality they desire. Another common trap is over-efforting. Many seekers believe that more action equals faster manifestation. They fill their days with rituals, journaling, affirmations, meditation sessions, vision boards, and countless hacks they find online. Yet, paradoxically, this relentless doing often creates more tension and anxiety. It amplifies the state of lack because deep down the underlying belief is still, I don't have it yet. I need to make it happen. In reality, manifestation works in the opposite way. When your internal state is calm, receptive, and aligned, action flows effortlessly, results appear naturally, and the universe responds without force. Fear is another major factor. Fear of not being enough, fear of failure, or fear of judgment quietly sabotages manifestation. You can recite affirmations like, I am abundant, while your nervous system is in a subtle state of contraction, anxiety, or skepticism. The mind may be repeating positive statements, but the body and energy field are still vibrating in a pattern of scarcity or lack. Manifestation is holistic. It responds to the totality of your being, not only your conscious thoughts. Until fear is transformed into trust, certainty, and alignment, the results you desire will remain out of reach. Resistance often hides in self-identity as well. Many people unconsciously define themselves by what they lack. I am not rich yet. I am not in my ideal relationship yet. I am not enough. This identity reinforces the state of lack, creating a loop that keeps them stuck. Even when they try to practice manifestation techniques, they are essentially asking the universe to give something to a version of themselves that is not yet ready to receive it. The shift cannot happen externally until it happens internally. A simple way to illustrate this is with the analogy of a radio. Imagine your desired reality as a station on a particular frequency. If your current state is off frequency, noisy, or jammed with static, doubt, fear, frustration, the signal cannot come through clearly. You may hear fragments, distorted snippets, or interference, but the full broadcast cannot reach you. Only when your internal frequency aligns with the vibration of your desire does the transmission become clear, effortless, and consistent. This is why state is more important than technique. It is the invisible foundation that allows manifestation to occur. It's also important to recognize that attempting to manifest from the wrong state creates subtle internal tension, even if it seems harmless at first. You may feel excitement when visualizing, but underneath there is anxiety. You may feel hope, but it is laced with uncertainty. Your nervous system is on alert, unconsciously scanning for signs that your desire has not yet arrived. This tension becomes an energetic block. The universe responds not to effort or desire alone, but to the resonance you emit. Until that resonance shifts, your manifestation remains out of reach. Understanding this is liberating because it reframes the entire process. Manifestation is not about chasing, forcing, or striving. It's about cultivating a state of being that naturally attracts the reality you desire. It's about moving from resistance to alignment, from wanting to being, from fear to trust. Once you see the invisible blocks that come from your current state, the techniques suddenly become much more effective. Visualization, affirmation, and scripting are not abandoned. They become accelerators, not crutches. So, as we continue, the key realization is this. The problem is not that you cannot manifest. The problem is that you are asking from the wrong state. And until you shift your inner state, all effort, no matter how sincere or disciplined, will only produce partial, inconsistent, or delayed results. Recognition is the first step. Awareness of your current state, the subtle tension, the hidden fear, the quiet resistance, is the doorway to realignment. Once you step through it, manifestation transforms from struggle to effortless creation. To truly understand why most manifestation efforts fail, it's essential to explore the concept of state on a deeper level. This isn't just about feeling positive or thinking happy thoughts. Your state encompasses your nervous system, your energetic signature, and even the subtle quantum field you are interacting with. Manifestation is not merely a mental exercise, it is a full-bodied, multidimensional process. The outer world responds to the inner world, and the inner world is far richer and more complex than many realize. At its core, your state is a vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates, from the stars to the smallest particle of matter. Your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and physiological patterns create a specific vibrational frequency, a signature that radiates out into the world. When you attempt to manifest, you are essentially interacting with the quantum field, sending out a signal. That signal carries the information of not just what you want, but who you are while you are wanting it. If your internal vibration is misaligned, the signal is distorted, and the universe responds to that distortion rather than to your conscious desire. Let's take a moment to consider how the nervous system influences manifestation. The nervous system is your body's communication network, responsible for sensing, responding, and regulating your interaction with the environment. When it is in a state of chronic stress, tension, or vigilance, it is essentially operating in survival mode. In this mode, your body and mind are scanning for danger, scarcity, and threat. The subtle energy that emanates from a stressed nervous system carries patterns of contraction and limitation. Even if you are visualizing abundance, the nervous system is transmitting a signal that says, "I am not safe. I'm not enough. I do not have what I need." The result is that the manifestation process is hampered at its source. Quantum physics provides a fascinating lens through which to understand this phenomenon. According to quantum theory, observation is not passive. It interacts with reality itself. Your consciousness, what you pay attention to, how you feel, and the state in which you exist, literally influences the unfolding of events. This does not mean that simply thinking or imagining something will create it, but it does mean that your state determines how you interact with probabilities in the quantum field. When your state is calm, coherent, and aligned, you are more likely to resonate with the outcomes that reflect that state. When your state is fragmented, fearful, or resistant, the field mirrors those patterns back to you. Consider the difference between a musician tuning an instrument and playing a random note. If the strings are perfectly tuned, the notes flow harmoniously and the music resonates with clarity. If the strings are out of tune, even the most skilled musician cannot produce a coherent melody. Your internal state works in much the same way. Techniques, visualizations, and affirmations are like the musician's skill. They are tools. But if your state is off, the tools will never produce the full harmony of manifestation. Alignment must come first. Another aspect to consider is identity. Who you believe yourself to be in this moment creates a lens through which reality is filtered. If you identify as someone who struggles with money, love, or success, your nervous system and energy field act to confirm that identity. The quantum field reflects it back in subtle ways. Manifestation techniques may provide temporary glimpses of what you want, but they cannot permanently override a deeply held self-concept. Real transformation occurs when your identity shifts first, when you become the person who already embodies the life you desire. This understanding explains why so many people fail despite rigorous practice. They may meditate daily, write affirmations, or visualize vividly, yet feel blocked, frustrated, or inconsistent. Their techniques are not failing, their state is. When the internal state is fragmented, nervous system dysregulated, or identity misaligned, the outer manifestation will always lag behind. This is not a failure, it is a natural law of resonance at work. The universe does not punish you, it simply mirrors your internal state. Breathing, nervous system regulation, and emotional coherence are therefore not optional, they are foundational. Techniques that focus on calming the nervous system, releasing tension, and cultivating presence have a direct impact on your vibrational state. Practices such as deep breathing, meditation, mindfulness, or simple body awareness exercises allow the energy to flow smoothly. When the nervous system is regulated, the mind becomes clear, emotions stabilize, and the quantum signal you send is strong, coherent, and aligned. In this state, manifestation becomes not a forced effort but a natural unfolding. It's also critical to understand that state is not static. It fluctuates throughout the day. You may start your morning feeling hopeful, only to be swept into anxiety by news, social interactions, or memories of past failures. Your manifestations respond to the state you occupy at any given moment, not to your intentions alone. That's why cultivation of consistent alignment, even in subtle ways, has an exponential impact. Small moments of coherence add up, creating a cumulative resonance that the universe can respond to effortlessly. This perspective reframes the idea of manifestation from a set of mechanical actions to a full-spectrum practice of being. You are no longer chasing outcomes. Instead, you are learning to embody a state that naturally attracts those outcomes. It is the difference between pushing a river to flow faster and simply stepping into its current and letting it carry you. Techniques are like paddles, they help you navigate, but the current is your internal state. When the current is aligned, the river moves in the direction you desire with ease. Ultimately, understanding manifestation through the lens of quantum resonance and nervous system regulation transforms the way you approach your practice. It moves you away from external struggle and toward internal mastery. You realize that the real work is not about trying harder, repeating affirmations more often, or visualizing with more intensity. It is about becoming coherent, calm, and aligned in every layer of your being, mind, body, and energy. When you achieve that, manifestation is no longer a goal, it is a natural reflection of your state. This realization may feel subtle, even invisible at first, but it is profoundly liberating. You no longer measure success by outcomes or external proof. You measure it by your alignment, your presence, and the coherence of your being. And as you cultivate this inner state, you will notice that the techniques you once relied on now become powerful tools, amplifying the resonance you have already created within. Manifestation ceases to be a struggle and begins to feel like a harmonious dance between you and the universe, a dance in which the steps are guided by alignment, not effort. The moment most people struggle with manifestation is the moment they try to force something into existence from a state that is not yet ready. But what if the secret isn't trying harder, visualizing longer, or reciting more affirmations? What if the real secret lies in becoming the version of yourself who naturally inhabits the reality you desire? This is the essence of alignment, moving from an old self defined by wanting and lack, to a new self defined by being and embodiment. Becoming this aligned version is not about pretending, wishing, or faking it. It is about cultivating the internal qualities that your desired reality would naturally reflect. Imagine the life you want as a mirror. If you approach that mirror while carrying doubt, fear, or frustration, the reflection will be distorted. But if you approach it with calm certainty, inner trust, and a sense of worthiness, the reflection begins to shift effortlessly. This is the power of state. Your outer reality can only match the level of alignment you hold within. One of the first steps is identity shift. Ask yourself, who am I in this new reality? How does this version of me think, feel, and act? The key is to step into that identity even before the external circumstances appear. When you inhabit this version of yourself consistently, your nervous system, thoughts, and energy field all begin to reflect this new identity. Slowly, subtly, and powerfully, your inner world realigns with the outer world. This is why manifestation from alignment feels effortless, because you are no longer asking for something external to fill a lack. You are already embodying it internally. Emotional resonance is equally critical. Most people try to manifest while feeling anxious, impatient, or doubtful. The aligned self, however, operates from emotional coherence. This doesn't mean constant bliss or denial of real challenges. It means cultivating a baseline of calm, trust, and openness. The aligned version of you experiences life with curiosity instead of fear, ease instead of tension, and confidence instead of hesitation. Your emotions become a signal, guiding you toward choices, actions, and interactions that naturally support the reality you desire. Inner permission is another cornerstone. Many seekers unconsciously block themselves by thinking they are not ready, not deserving, or not capable. Alignment requires releasing these hidden restrictions. You must give yourself permission to exist as the person who already has, knows, and lives the life you want. This permission opens the channels of energy and opportunity that were previously blocked by internal resistance. When you stop arguing with your own worthiness, manifestation accelerates, not because the universe finally allows it, but because you have removed the internal barriers that were obstructing the natural flow. Practical embodiment techniques can help anchor this aligned state. Simple practices like mindful presence, somatic awareness, and conscious breathing bring you back to the body, where the state is truly felt. Visualization is no longer just a mental exercise, it becomes a felt experience. Affirmations shift from repetition to resonance, echoing the truth of the aligned self rather than trying to convince a resistant mind. Scripting, journaling, or meditative reflection all serve as tools to deepen the experience of the new self, embedding it into your nervous system and energy field. The beauty of this approach is that action becomes effortless and inspired. The aligned self doesn't chase outcomes. It moves naturally toward opportunities that match its vibration. Doors open, synchronicities occur, and interactions unfold in ways that feel intuitive rather than forced. You begin to notice that life responds to your presence, not your persistence. The energy you hold radiates outward, attracting circumstances, people, and experiences that are in harmony with the state you inhabit. Contrast can be a powerful motivator here. Reflect on the old self, the one who tried hard, pushed, and forced outcomes. Compare it with the aligned self, the one who embodies calm certainty, trust, and inner harmony. The difference is not only visible externally but deeply felt internally. One is exhausting, tense, and inconsistent. The other is effortless, coherent, and magnetically powerful. This contrast illuminates the importance of state, helping you commit to the ongoing cultivation of alignment rather than reverting to old patterns of striving and resistance. Ultimately, becoming the aligned version of yourself is less about achieving external goals and more about cultivating an internal ecosystem that naturally generates those outcomes. It is about coherence across mind, body, emotion, and energy. It is about stepping into a state where manifestation ceases to be a struggle and becomes a reflection of who you truly are. When you embody this self, the universe responds, not because you are trying harder, but because your inner world has become fertile ground for your desires to grow. And as you practice this, you will notice a profound shift. Life begins to feel lighter, more fluid, and more effortless. Your focus moves from chasing outcomes to cultivating presence. You start recognizing opportunities and synchronicities that were previously invisible. And most importantly, you feel a deep sense of trust, that the life you desire is already responding to the alignment you are embodying, and that manifestation is simply the natural result of who you have become. By now, you can begin to see the hidden truth behind manifestation. It is never about forcing outcomes, repeating rituals, or striving harder than before. Manifestation is a mirror of your inner state. The results you experience are a reflection of who you are in the moment, not merely what you want. This understanding is liberating because it removes the pressure, the struggle, and the constant measuring of progress. The key lies not in external action alone, but in the subtle, profound, and often overlooked state from which you approach your desires. Most people fail to manifest because they are asking from the wrong state, anxious, fearful, resistant, or attached to a version of themselves that does not yet exist. Once you recognize this, everything changes. You no longer chase your desires or push against reality. Instead, you cultivate alignment, coherence, and presence. You allow yourself to become the person who naturally attracts the life you want. In this process, manifestation shifts from a distant goal into a natural, flowing reflection of your being. Remember that alignment is a practice, not a perfect state. It requires observation, gentle correction, and ongoing cultivation of your nervous system, your energy, and your internal identity. When you consistently embody the aligned version of yourself, the universe responds effortlessly. Opportunities appear, synchronicities unfold, and your desires manifest not through struggle but through resonance. This is the profound shift from chasing to being, from trying to manifest to naturally manifesting. As you move forward, carry this understanding with you. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. When you are calm, aligned, worthy, and coherent, The life you desire is drawn to you naturally. Let go of struggle, release the pressure of results, and step into the state of your new self. In that space, manifestation becomes effortless, joyful, and inevitable, a reflection of your truest being.